Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we are going to discuss Microsoft Recovery Services Vault. If it's your first time watching this channel, my name is Mohammed Saleh. I'm a cloud solutions architect at Microsoft. I also bring in an 11 years of experience in IT career. So I'm also at AWS and in a ProServe engineer for on-premises as well with a Hewlett Packard Enterprise and a couple of Microsoft partners. So I've spent my whole life doing Microsoft products, whether it's on-premises or in the cloud infrastructure. So you are in safe hands. This channel is all about discussing Azure products. I'm going to show you a lot of dive deep demos. How would you implement products at Microsoft Azure, and how would you leverage Microsoft Azure with other cloud providers as well, or even on-premises infrastructure. This video is going to be split into different sections. The first one is going to discuss why we should use Microsoft Azure Backup or Microsoft Recovery Services Vault. This video series we are going to discuss Microsoft Azure Backup. So we will see how would you manage the Azure Backup policies, how would you create the Azure Backup, and many more. How would you backup your virtual machines anywhere, whether it's a Azure virtual machine, whether it's an on-premises virtual machine, or even on other cloud providers as well. Lastly, I would like to let you know that this is a multi-language channel, so I do record videos in Arabic. So the best way to find my English videos is by searching the playlist, and then you will find like either a playlist with an Arabic tag or says Azure Arabic, or even you will find the playlist for English as well. Also, my English is not the first language, so if you don't understand the video, or sometimes you feel okay, it doesn't make sense, it might be it's not you, but it's my bad language as well. So let's get started. Microsoft Azure Recovery Services Vault is one of the oldest services. It was introduced since 2017 when there was an Azure Classic before the Azure Resource Manager, and it's a first-party service from Microsoft. When we say it's a first-party service from Microsoft, that means it's fully integrated with Microsoft Azure RBAC or role-based access control, but it's also a managed service. When we say it's managed service by Microsoft, that you don't really need to care about the high availability of this product, or maybe I'm running out of storage, or any of these kind of concerns that we normally hear from our customers. So normally you'll find your manager is always telling you, okay, how is the backup strategy look like how frequently do you back up the data, all of this kind of stuff. So today we are going to answer this by using Microsoft Azure Recovery Services Vault, and it's also a solution for disaster recovery. So basically you can use Microsoft Recovery Services Vault either to back up your infrastructure, or even to create or use Azure as a disaster recovery site for your on-premises infrastructure, which we will also tackle into another playlist. So in this slide, I'm just showing you here is why BCDR, our business continuity and disaster recovery, is also important, because downtime is inevitable, right? So things always corrupt. Things could, some people could mistakenly delete some data, or maybe the database is corrupted, or it could be a ransomware attack, and many more. So basically, like if you have a file server, or if you have an Azure storage, sure, it gets replicated to many different availability zone, or geographically across regions. But if somebody deleted the file, then you won't be able to recover that file. If somehow you're using Azure Virtual Desktop and you're storing your profiles or user profiles into that file share, and then it got corrupted, because things could happen, then you won't be able also to recover that file. So that's why Microsoft Azure Recovery Services Vault is very important for these kind of situations. So Microsoft Recovery Services Vault comes with a lot of great tools where you will be able to monitor, but also control the policies of Microsoft Azure Backup without really worrying about the underlying infrastructure and high availability and so on of that recovery services solution. All right, I'm in the Azure portal. If it's your first time, seeing the Azure portal, you just let me know in the comments, and I will create a video about what is the Azure portal and how would you manage your Azure resources. But normally this is your interface, or the graphical user interface of managing your cloud resources, such as creating resources, deleting resources, and so on. But you also can use the the PowerShell or CLI if you also would like to automate things, or maybe the Azure Resource Manager template, or the newer version, which is the Bicep or Terraform. So all of these are the available options to manage and create resources inside your Microsoft Azure infrastructure, but this is the easiest way to create resources inside Azure. So in order to create Microsoft Recovery Services Vault, you need an active Azure subscription. And the Azure subscription is basically a billing method. So where in order to watch movies, you need on Netflix, for example, then you need to have a Netflix subscription, which is linking your credit card information with your Netflix account, and then you will be able to watch movies. The same thing goes for the IT. So in order to be able to create Azure resources, provision Azure resources, and so on, you need to have a Hotmail account, and then register for an Azure subscription, link it with your existing credit card, and then you will be able to create resources. Of course, there is also a trial version of Azure subscription that you can leverage, and then test out the Azure subscription with a $200 or $300 credit. There's also student subscription. So if you're in university and you can prove that you're in university, you still can also create a trial subscription and without even credit card, and then use it for like $100 or so. I don't remember from memory. But then after that, you need to provide a credit card after your trial period, which is 12 months finished. Then you can go for the pay-as-you-go subscription. Right. So once you have the Azure subscription, then you need to search for Microsoft Recovery Services Vault. So we will search on the middle here on Recovery Services Vault. Basically, the best way to find resources is by searching, or even going to all services and then find the service that you want. So there's tons of services, whether it's AI or machine learning, or the most common services that all customers use, or even the recent services that I have visited, and so on. But normally, if you don't know where to find it, just basically search it, and then you will find it there, because sometimes Microsoft do change things inside Microsoft Azure. So to do that, just go under Recovery Services Vault and then click on Create. So before we create a Recovery Services Vault, we need to create a resource group. So a resource group basically is a folder. And when we say folder, it's a folder for resources. Basically, if you have files on your computer, you have photos, videos, and so on, you want to group it into a folder so that you will be able to manage it easier, but also you can apply controls to it, which permissions, which one can access this folder, and so on. So the same way also Microsoft resource group work the same way, is that you need to create a resource group. For example, here I'm gonna call it backup resource group, which means I will store all of my backup data inside that resource group, or backup resources, and then I will select my Azure subscription, which is Muhammad Saleh in this case. Again, you could have more than one subscription. That's why you could select your subscription as well. But for simplicity, or for this demo, I only have one subscription, so I'm just selecting Muhammad Saleh subscription. And then you select the region. Which region do you want to store your backups? So basically, depends on your use case. So if you are in Europe, then you're gonna store it in Europe. If you're in the US, you're gonna store it in the US. So always gonna be closest to your data center, closest to your location, and so on. So, or maybe closest to your customers. So if your customers in the US, then you store it there, and so on. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna select in my case West Europe, and then hit next. Basically, this is tags. So tags is a metadata. So maybe I'll just can add some tags here. Environment equal testing, and then maybe created by. So normally you add some your team XYZ at thecompany.com. And you can add more tags again. This is just a best practice, and we will discuss this in another video. Then I will just click on review and create, and then hit create. As you can see, my resource group got created, and you can see it from the bell icon on top here is notifying you that we have successfully created your resource. Now you can go ahead and create the Microsoft Recovery Services Vault. So what you do is go to Recovery Services Vault from here, search to Recovery Services Vault, and then hit create. As any other Azure resource, you always have to select your Azure subscription and which resource group we are going to create this resource. So in my case, we've created the backup resource group, and then you need to enter a name for that vault. So I will call it Vault 1 or even Backup 1, and then click Next. So here there's a few redundancy options, and each option is gonna incur cost basically. Locally redundant storage, which means is that I want this guy to be redundant on the same region. For the geo redundant, it's gonna be replicated across region, which is also if there is a region outage, then the backup data is gonna be replicated to another one. So for just cost purposes, I'm just gonna select on locally redundant and then click Next. This is the encryption type that you can use. Some customers, depends on your use case, use the Microsoft manage key, which to decrypt the data, which means is that Microsoft is gonna store the encryption key to of that backup data. But some others, they don't trust Microsoft basically, or they want to use their own keys. Then at this stage, you have to use your own managed key. But this is again a topic about cybersecurity. But I just want to show you that you have that capability. As I mentioned, you can enable also immutability. As you can see, this feature is not available in the selected region, so you can just learn more which regions actually support the immutability feature. And that's why also considering the region is very important, because some of the features might be available in the US, the older regions, and it could be like the other regions might not have that feature. So you always have to take a look at the take a look at the the feature comparison in different region for every service that you're gonna provision before you use it. Then you click on Next. So next here under networking, this is how would you want to access the backup. Basically, do you want to allow connection from everywhere, or do you want to allow it from a private endpoint, basically through your site-to-site VPN or express route? Again, this is a networking topic, but just highlighting this one. Same as the others, if you want to specify tags or whatever, then you also can add tags as well to that resource. Then you hit review and create, and then click on create. That's it. You have a backup solution up and running in your Azure subscription. As you can see here, the resource is deploying. Normally it takes a few minutes, and then this one is going to be available to you, but it's showing the status of the deployment, the backup 01, and then now, as you can see, the deployment is completed. And then from that bell icon, you can actually see that okay, this is successfully created. You can click on go to resource. So this is one way on how would you view the Microsoft Recovery Services Vault, but you also can search again on the Recovery Services Vault tab, and then you will find backup 01. From that blade, you will see you can create another one, or even view properties or details about the Recovery Services Vault that you have created. So as you can see, the name of the backup, immutability feature is disabled, location of that backup, and which Azure subscription. Now you click on this one, then you will find you have the Microsoft Recovery Services Vault. As you can see, Microsoft really likes a lot of documentation to add to that product, so you can actually go ahead and understand what is Azure Backup and learn about it, but also likes analytics. So out of the box, you will see some analytics related to the backup infrastructure. So how many critical or warnings that you might receive regarding the backup alerts, how many virtual machines, maybe it's unhealthy and so on, in progress backup, inside the backup jobs filled, and so on. This is just out of the box. You don't need to configure anything. And now you'll see two buttons on top here is the to backup the infrastructure, or to backup which type of backup do you want to use, and also the site recovery, or enable the disaster recovery as well for your on-premises workload, or even across different regions. That's specifically for your Azure virtual machines or any other products anywhere. And this is where you can delete your recovery services vault. This is where you refresh and also provide feedback. Again, same thing, another dashboard for the the Microsoft disaster recovery. So you can see your state across Azure virtual machines. If you have enabled this on the VMware, which you will see also on the on this video series, or Hyper-V. So you can use the disaster recovery pretty much with the VMware infrastructure, or Hyper-V, or even physical machines, which we will discuss more. And this is the overview tab, basically showing you the details about the recovery services vault. Normally it's you can expand this one, see which resource group this recovery services vault is created in, the location of that resource, the region, which Azure subscription, and so on, and the subscription ID. This is where you look at the activity of the resource. Normally, if somebody is, right now we have created the vault, so you will see a create operation. If there's any modification, you can track actually the activity log. This is out of the box, and this is free of charge. There is no logs need to be enabled, but this is actually showing you what is happening from the control plane perspective. So if you are modifying the vault, if you're doing anything, you can actually go ahead and see who is doing this. Like right now, we took 4 minutes to create the recovery service vault, or 5 minutes on Monday, and then who created this one, and this is by Hotmail, my account at hotmail.com. So it's really good to know some information about what's happening in your recovery services vault. But this is just the basic logging, and it's unified across all of your Microsoft Azure resources. You will always see the activity log bottom. The other bottom that you're always going to see is the RBAC roles, or role-based access control. This is where you can configure access, and we will see this on the next video, but I just wanted to show you the experience of what it looks like. There are many more tabs that we're gonna explain in the future videos, but I just wanted to show you that this is the control, or how would you control the access for your user who gonna be the backup administrator, or who's gonna be the backup owner. So the kind of permissions that you're gonna allow your users. Maybe some people just will have a reader permission and just have read only on that backup infrastructure. Some others will have extra permissions to be able to maybe configure the virtual machines, maybe configure the backup settings, the backup policies, and so on. But normally we're going to spend some time here on the getting started section on the backup infrastructure to use the backup feature, and we will also see the other tabs or features and make sure that you understand everything. I have a lot of labs where how would you do that on your Azure virtual machines, how would you do that on your on-premises virtual machines, how would you integrate with Microsoft System Center DPM or Data Protection Manager, and more. I hope this video was useful for you. Thanks for watching.